Welcome to Wisdom Trek with Gramps. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, and we are on day 2432 of our trek. The purpose of Wisdom Trek is to create a legacy of wisdom, to seek out discernment and insights, and to boldly grow where few have chosen to grow before. In today's Wisdom Nugget, I'll guide you through the vast landscapes of biblical wisdom. Today we'll delve into the powerful and thought-provoking Psalm 14 from the New Living Translation. This psalm, attributed to David, provides a vivid portrayal of humanity's folly and the hope found in God's salvation. As we read Psalm chapter 14, verses 1 through 7, let's explore the depths of human nature and the assurance of God's deliverance. Let's embark on this journey together. Psalm chapter 14, verses 1 through 7. Only fools say in their hearts, "There is no God." They are corrupt and their actions are evil. Not one of them does good. The Lord looks down from heaven at the entire human race. He looks to see if anyone is truly wise, if anyone seeks God. But no, all have turned away. All have become corrupt. No one does good, not a single one. Will those who do evil never learn? They eat up my people like bread and wouldn't think of praying to the Lord. Terror will grip them, for God is with those who obey. The wicked frustrate the plans of the oppressed, but the Lord will protect his people. Who will come from Mount Zion to rescue Israel? When the Lord restores his people, Jacob will shout with joy and Israel will rejoice. David begins Psalm 14 with a stark declaration. Only fools say in their heart, "There is no God." They are corrupt and their actions are evil. Not one of them does good. Verse 1. This opening verse sets a tone for the entire psalm, emphasizing the folly of denying God's existence. David uses the term fools, not to describe the lack of intelligence, but moral deficiency. The fool in this context is someone who lives as though there is no accountability to a higher power. This denial leads to corruption and evil action. When one rejects the foundational truth of God's existence, moral decay will follow. This verse challenges us to consider the importance of acknowledging God in our lives and the moral implications of our beliefs. In verses 2 and 3, David paints a picture of God's perspective. The Lord looks down from heaven on the entire human race. He looks and sees if there is anyone truly wise, if anyone seeks God. But no, all have turned away. All have become corrupt. No one does good, not a single one. Here we see God's active involvement in human affairs. He searches for those who are wise and seek him. However, the verdict is bleak. Everyone has turned away, and no one does good. This universal statement highlights the pervasiveness of sin and the universal need for redemption. It echoes the sentiments found in Romans chapter 3, verse 23, "For everyone has sinned, we all fall short of God's glorious standard." These verses call us to reflect on our own lives and our need for God's grace. Without his guidance and redemption, we are prone to stray and fall into corruption. David continues in verses 4 to 6, describing the behavior of the wicked and the fate that awaits them. Will those who do evil never learn? They eat up my people like bread and wouldn't think of praying to the Lord. Terror will grip them, for God is with those who obey him. The wicked frustrate the plans of the oppressed, but the Lord will protect his people. The wicked are depicted as those who prey on God's people without any regard for righteousness or prayer. Their actions are not only harmful, but also thoughtless. They live without fear of God, yet David warns that the terror will grip them because God is with those who obey him. This contrast between the wicked and the righteous highlights God's protective care over his people. Even though the wicked may seem powerful and oppressive, God's presence with the righteous ensures the ultimate safety and vindication. It's a reminder that God's justice will prevail, and those who trust in him will be protected. Now the psalm concludes with the hopeful proclamation in verse 7. Who will come from Mount Zion to rescue Israel? When the Lord restores his people, Jacob will shout for joy, and Israel will rejoice. This verse shifts from the present reality of wickedness and oppression to the future hope of deliverance and restoration. Mount Zion represents God's holy hill, the place of his presence and power. The question is posed, who will come from Mount Zion to rescue Israel? And it anticipates a divine intervention. The answer is clear. It is the Lord who will restore his people. This promise of restoration brings joy and rejoicing. Jacob and Israel, representing the people of God, will celebrate their deliverance. This verse encapsulates the hope and the assurance that despite the current state of the world, God's ultimate plan is to rescue and restore his people. As we reflect on Psalm chapter 14, verses 1 through 7, several key lessons emerge that we can apply to our own lives. First, acknowledge God's existence. The psalm begins with a warning against denying God. Acknowledging God's existence and sovereignty is the foundation of wisdom and moral living. Second, recognize our needs for God. The universal statement of human corruption reminds us of our need for God's grace and redemption. We all will need His saving power. Third, trust in God's justice. The contrast between the wicked and the righteous assures us that God's justice will prevail. He will protect and vindicate His people. And fourth, hope in God's deliverance. The promise of restoration from Mount Zion fills us with hope. No matter how bleak the present may seem, God's ultimate plan is to rescue and restore His people. As we apply these lessons to our daily lives, we deepen our relationship with God and strengthen our faith. Acknowledging God's existence in our decisions and actions leads us to live wisely. Recognizing that we need God's grace to keep us humble and reliant on Him. Trusting in God's justice gives us peace, knowing that He will ultimately right all wrongs. And hoping in God's deliverance fills us with joy and perseverance, even in challenging times. As we conclude our exploration of Psalm chapter 14, verses 1 through 7, let's carry these lessons with us on our journey. Acknowledge God, recognize our need for Him, trust in His justice and hope in His deliverance, and by doing so, we'll align ourselves with the timeless wisdom of this psalm and navigate life's challenges with faith and assurance. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Wisdom Trek. May these insights in Psalm chapter 14 inspire and strengthen you as you continue your trek through life. Until the next time, keep seeking God's wisdom, cherish each moment, and continue making a positive impact on the world around you. And if you found this podcast insightful, please subscribe and leave us a review. Then encourage your friends and family to join us and come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. Thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, and most importantly, I am your friend as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal. As we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and create a great day every day. See you next time for more daily wisdom.